This is Public Access Signals from the Other Side, Part 20, picking up after our holiday break, picking up with a four-way cliffhanger on our night phase. This is going to be a bit of a small session. We're going to just wrap up this night phase and maybe do some answering a question, but otherwise, then we're going to wrap it. I want to just dive right in, I think. To the extent that any of you four need to be caught up on things, I'll catch you up in the moment. So we're going to just dive right in. Ashley, for the remainder of this night phase, your race is going to be our sort of timekeeper. So the way this is going to go is you are going to have to, you're going to win because you did what Nintendo don't, but I'm going to ask you to narrate three legs of the race or three laps, which we'll cut back and forth from as we do all this. So think about your cool racing moves and think about what it all looks like and how arcade racing game it's going to be or how realistic it's going to be. I'll leave up to you. Maybe try not to murder people or destroy too much. Um, and then so I think I'd like to kick off with that actually, unless you need a moment, in which case we can wait a bit. But um,
Uh, I think I can do like the first lap or part.
yeah.
Sure.
Nighttime, racing principally around the power plant, which I'll remind you, this is where that fateful race from back in the day took place as well. This is where Kate, um, what's her name? Kate Burnside. This is where Kate Burnside, um, I think this is where she died, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Ba, 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 ba.
Yes, I think that there's like a particular like turn here that is like
Yes,
very
there was a
dangerous.
crash in '86. Yeah. So this is dangerous. Give us the first bit. And you're racing a Jeep, which is really fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we see Ashley like that boast is still echoing in the air that this newbie races so well. She can outrace even death. And we kind of see her like a shot from the back, like all these cars lined up, like this Jeep completely out of place, looking really, really old. And she puts on like the helmet over her fiery red hair as she steps in. And then we see her kind of like at the steering wheel, just like ready and going like, fuck it. Let's do this. And we see, like one of the I'm gonna imagine like this is very fast and furious, and there's like a girl in shorts that are way too tight and way too small, waving like a flag, and the flag goes down, and everybody just floors it, and Ashley just like goes way too hard. We hear the engine roar in protest. This Jeep is not made for this. It was not modified. It is not meant to be doing this at all, but it stutters and roars and screeches to life as she's just going. And I think we get to that first curve, and everybody, despite this being a race, like everybody's slowing down because they know, we need to actually live if we want to win. But Ashley doesn't, because Ashley doesn't give a single fuck anymore. So she's just going. And this Jeep, we see like the tires are lifting. She's like almost on the side as she's making this turn, and she's just laughing. We just hear her giggle and laugh through the air over the roar of the engines.
Not too far away at the Big Sun convenience store, having a considerably less heroic and noble time is Nathan Toomey. Nathan Toomey, you have just discovered, to your great chagrin, no doubt, that the person who works at the convenience store, um, dog told him to turn on the gas, lock the door. The lights are presumably on, so we must be waiting for a spark here, and and is getting ready to murder suicide you. What what do you do?
Oh, it's a wonderful question. God, I think that Nathan is standing in between the sodas and the chips, awkwardly and just blinking at him. And I think the only words that come out of his mouth at first, after like a pause, he just kind of like goes, "So, hey, what are you doing, man?"
He says, he reaches onto like actual like a shelf where there's a
Uh-huh.
bunch of Bic lighters in plastic packages, and he's like fumbling with the plastic, tearing it open.
No, no, no. You
I think he
don't
makes a little
you
comment like, they make these damn childproof clamshells, and he's like trying to get it open.
yeah, yeah, no, it's try he's like stumbling and doesn't know what to do. I think that Nathan just uh I'm locking up because there's so much going on. I think what he's gonna like do something very weird, and it is he just reaches over and grabs a bag of Takis and he just like opens them, just and then he like walks up to him and just like holds the bag out in front of him, um, and just being like, "Hey man, you need to talk about anything?"
I think this is going to be the night move with presence, composure. I'm not really sure here.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like it's composure because Nathan is doing this Nathan thing, which is he is being way too not necessarily calm. What's the word? Aloof in a
mm,
situation where something
hmm
which should probably be I don't know, maybe he's this is not a tactical move by Nathan whatsoever, but he's hoping deep down inside that maybe him being such an awkward and weird person will shock someone out of their mind control.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I'm into it. I like it as composure.
Uh-huh.
I do think that stay rough on crime might affect you negatively because presumably this means Officer Barker is trying to stay rough on you, and so um has an interest in seeing you get blown up. So disadvantage unless you can work in an item.
Um, no, I don't think I can work in an item. Um, I will roll with disadvantage because why not? We're at that point in the game.
You just got +2 though, so that's not nothing.
Yeah, plus two. That is an 8.
We didn't actually establish stakes, but I think the stakes are
Oh,
pretty
yeah, my bad.
obvious, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
they're
pretty
pretty
obvious.
obvious. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll come back to this. Topher, you are doing a night rider on this car, and there is a ramp that is going to launch the car over the gap, and get to the other side. You have the need for speed, which we've already established is compelling you to want to take this ramp. This is what the glitchy pale, the pale horse has led you to, and I guess I'm just going to ask you: are you ready to make this jump?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Let's make the jump then. This is going to be the night move. Because of the need for speed, you're going to be at disadvantage, and because of the nature of it, it's going to be vitality. Because you are the car in some sense. What do you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
Uh, well, really, that I'm gonna fall into like a gulch and explode.
I think it's worse than that. It's a little bit like that part of when Chris Hemsworth dies in Cabin in the Woods. Like he makes that jump and he hits that like barrier. I think you're going to discover the outer edge of whatever the fuck is going on in Deep Lake. So, which will be bad for you, to be clear. Um, Go ahead and roll with vitality if you're ready to do it.
Uh, yeah, yeah. No, I don't think any of my items here will help. So fuck it,
Okay,
let's just do it.
go for it.
We ball. Let me pull up the dice rollers. Forgot to pull that up earlier. Whoops. All right. Uh, Well, I forgot at disadvantage, but I still rolled a miss anyways.
Okay, very good. Um, we'll come back to this. Back in the bowels of the new La Fresca Foods plant, in a darkened room that W. Atlas Morgenstern was surreptitiously going into at times. Stepping into what dim light is coming from where you're at, where you're coming from. There's a little bit of ambient light. Stepping into that ambient light is a bloated, grotesque dream zombie. Their limbs are puffy and thick as tree trunks. Their body is puffed up like a saggy balloon, and the skin is splitting in places because it's puffed up at a rate that the epidermis can't keep up with. And so there's little rips in the flesh that have little rivulets of white inside of them. This individual has dream crusted over their eyes, much like the middle level dream zombies we've already seen. This one's very far gone. And you can just see the dream roiling in its mouth and throat as it moans at you and as it takes these heavy footsteps toward you. This is your clue. This is what happens long-term exposure to the dream, which means this has been going on for a while. That's maybe the real clue. The real clue is the dream as a product is new, but the dream itself has maybe been around for a minute. And then you hear the unfortunate click, click of a gun behind you. Flo says, "I'm really sorry about this, man. But Mr. Morgenstern made me an offer that I just couldn't refuse. I like money. That's why they call me Flo. I'm very much into cash flow." And you've got Flo behind you with a gun, forcing you into the room. This creature on the other side, lumbering toward you. What do you do?
So I know we didn't really define what kind of drugs that Andy's stash held that Sean got for Tets.
But I'm
I
open
would
to
like to,
whatever. Yeah.
I would like it to be a powdered
Okay.
form
Okay.
because I think Sean's going to try and quickly turn and blow it in Flo's face.
I love it. That's definitely a composure roll. It's definitely the night move. What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
The wind will, or the air currents in here will just blow it back towards Sean, and then he's in an even worse state when the zombie gets to him.
It's worse than that. The zombie gets you, and and Flo also gets hung up, hoisted by her own petard, and gets grabbed by the thing as well. Let's go ahead and roll with definitely with composure, taking a look at your conditions. Flat roll.
And I'll use the drugs for advantage.
Perfect. Go for it.
I got to hit the button. That's 12.
12. Very good. You'll get another clue on the way out. Be thinking about your clean escape. I'll actually let you, since you get a bonus, well, the clue is the bonus, but also I'm going to give you kind of an extra bonus as well and let you decide whether Flo survives or not. So,
Think on that.
second leg of the race. Take it away, Ashley.
The car, the tires that were off the ground tugged back as she's still pushing that gas, but for all she's worth. She's like kind of ahead of people now because they stopped for the turn, but still everybody's like flying out of it. And she kind of starts to like zigzag so they can't pass her. She's just everywhere on this road, just like with random, like just randomly turning the wheel so they don't know where she's gonna be. We hear like some people start to like yell and curse at her, like both impressed and really annoyed with how she's acting. And she kind of like leans out of the window and gives like a little finger wave, and then gets back as we hear her just go into the night. I think we get like that bird's eye view of her, just like her absolutely random patterns and the exhaust going into the night air as she just keeps going.
Nathan, I'm going to give you a unnerved condition, but you've already got 3 conditions. So if you want to just burn a mask or not, you want to just turn a key to bump it up to 10, you might as well do it.
Yeah, might as well. I think it's time to mark the wandering monolith again.
That all sounds great. Go ahead and you're fully safe here, and you
Yeah.
can talk this guy down. You can maybe even keep questioning him. So
Yeah, I feel like what Nathan does when he holds this bag of Takis out, it's almost like instinctually he just like reaches out and like grabs one from the bag and then has this moment of like, what? And then as Nathan is, putting a Taki in his mouth and chewing with his free hand, he reaches out and takes the Zippo lighter from the other guy, sets the Taki down and opens the lighter package for him, and just kind of like hands him the lighter again, and is so aloof and strange. And I feel like this has a like, how do I phrase this? He like blinks and double takes at Nathan as if, what are you doing? This, you make no sense. And I think we see his eyes like flutter for a moment as he thinks around the situation and smells the gas and realizes what he's doing and why he's doing it. So I think that kicks him in the pants a bit. I think that it is overrided.
Topher, we see the driverless, probably not street legal vehicle. It's a Miata, right? Or I don't remember what it was, but tires are spinning, and you're revving up. I don't know how cars work. And eventually you're going to launch, because that's what happens in movies. And you go flying up the ramp. You hit the ramp clean and straight. And you are arcing really beautifully. The Dukes of Hazzard would be very proud indeed as you go sailing into the deep lake moonlit night. And just about when you get halfway, there's just a crackle of white TV snow. That the car disappears into. And then we see you. Maybe as the car, maybe as Topher, maybe just as a blot of consciousness, who knows? You are floating above a neon grid. You can hear in the distance the plucking of shamisen. You see all around you large neon orange pyramids swirling. A torii gate in vivid hot purple rising up. rising up from the chromatic horizon. Inside the gate is white, pure, blistering, blinding white. And gently, carefully, as a stone sinking to the bottom of a river, you break the surface of the pure white and are consumed by it. Unless you turn a key here.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna turn the key of the child. Flashback to the moment you realize childhood wasn't forever.
Do you want to do it now or do you want to wait?
Yeah, I have it up.
Go for it.
Topher is nearly an adult now. We see them with their mother's scarf wound tightly around their neck in their shared studio apartment. Topher and their roommate, Kev, were caught in a hit and run car accident that triggered an intense trauma response from Kev, who is currently passed out in their shitty apartment. Any attempts that Topher makes to rouse him are met with grumbles and spittle falling from his mouth, as well as a few panicked whines and the occasional yelp. He checks her phone and the 15 unread messages from their manager at the Whataburger. They hadn't come in for the past few days, not wanting to leave Kev alone like this, and the last message he received was simply don't bother coming in tomorrow or any other day after. Topher curses, stands, and punches the wall of their shitty apartment, suffering a boxer's fracture in their right hand, and quickly realizes that he doesn't have the money to get it fixed properly and starts sobbing into their mother's scarf as he sits down on the floor, head curled up into themselves. The fracture would eventually heal improperly, and Topher was left with a scar on their right hand that he'd later get covered up by a block text tattoo of the title of his favorite video game.
Fantastic. Sean, scene is yours.
Sean will turn with this packet of indeterminate white powder and just kind of quickly try and blow it toward Flo, who it just floats in the air towards her face. She reacts, reaching up to try and wipe it away or just clear her eyes, and that's when Sean is going to dart forward and grab the gun and just yank it free from her hands, and then shove her and himself through the door and close it behind them. And still holding the gun, he's going to watch her very carefully, see if this is taking effect or.
What is the nature of the drug so that I know what to do? What is it?
I assume it's cocaine-ish.
Okay, I mean, is she gonna overdose here, or like is she gonna, like what do we think is gonna happen?
I don't know, how strong does Tets like his
I don't
his
know. Yeah.
materials?
Well, I'm saying if it was like powdered heroin, this was supposed to be burned and she snorted it, then we have a Mia Wallace situation going on. But if it's just coke, she's probably fine. I don't know. She might even be more to deal with, honestly.
I wouldn't be surprised if Tetsville County had some weird drug called Hurricane, which is a cut blend of heroin and cocaine.
Maybe it's just like a weird hallucinogenic. I don't know, but in any case, I think like I guess what I'm getting at is, do you want to be able to subdue her, or do you want to just leave her here as you get the hell out of here?
I think he'd like to he's going to take her car keys first
You
off.
have the car keys. You've got those. Yeah. Remember, she threw them
Okay.
to you. Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, but then she was going to trap me in the room.
Well,
That
she's going
probably
to take them
wouldn't
back,
have worked
probably. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe she got another set. Who knows? Yeah.
Then yeah, he'll leave her there and just move deeper in with the gun.
Oh, you're going to go deeper into the facility.
That's why I'm here.
You might have to get. Okay, well, then in that case, I can make your bonus getting around the creature instead of a clue. Otherwise, I'm going to make you have to roll to get around the creature.
Wasn't that in like a side room? I thought.
Well, so she's like behind you in the room you came from, and the thing is like in your way, basically.
Oh, okay. Yeah, then he'll grab her by the upper arm and just kind of try and drag her out of harm's way and get them both back into the hall.
Okay, so back the way you came from.
Yep.
Okay, good. And then I'll give you a clue on the way out, and then that'll kind of wrap the night phase, I think. But the state of this person that you found is a clue as well. So that's what I owed you from before.
Yep, recorded.
Fantastic. Final leg of the race. Give us your sweet victory, Ashley.
I think we see Ashley a bad part of the road that she didn't see because she was swerving too hard and she doesn't notice track. She hits it and the car stumbles. It does like that, like, you know, like the full sideways turn of action movies as she's like trying to pull it back. Someone finally like catches up to her. A single car, completely silver, completely gray, as a person is just like sitting. And it's one of those like he's wearing a helmet so we don't see who it is, but it feels like he's looking at her and not the road. And we can just see like the glint of eyes from behind, from underneath the helmet. And she gets the car back under control as in the like her window is down now. And she too like looks at this person, and from the corner of an eye she's just racing this single silver car, this pale car glinting in like the street lights and the bit of moonlight that is shining. And he catches up to her, like we see the last leg of the race where for most of the part he's like in front of her. And then I think we just see her like at the very, very end, just kind of once again kind of shrug and be like, she doesn't really care how she makes it. She just has to make it. And we see her floor it. And the very last bit, she screeches past him. I think once the car is stopped, she looks up and she can't see that car anymore. Whether it's past her or it's gone, she doesn't know.
But you also raced some human or a human racer as well. There's a lot of like, cheering and people kind of celebrating as you're kind of like taking stock of what just happened, what just, what, this was a quite a situation, quite an outcome nobody foresaw, right? Given it you're driving a Jeep. Once things have calmed down a little bit, the man in the gray suit is approaching you, clapping. Congratulations. I think you might be the owner of a Nissan 200 SX now.
Well, that's definitely better than this. And I think we see like the Jeep like do like a little like
Yeah.
one of the like the wheels just gives out. It's done.
He says, and this is your 12 plus bonus. He says, I want to help you out a little bit with this whole Kit Burnside situation. And he presses something into your hand. It's a clue, not a corner of the house item, but it's a clue. He presses into your hand a black pyramid that's seems to be made of some kind of quartz. And then
How nice.
He walks off into the moonlight. That's your clue. Nathan, the Big Sun convenience guy, he has a name. I need to find it real quick. What is his name? Verdell. He says, I don't know what got into me there. At this point, you've kind of been kind of decompressing with him for a minute. You're in the middle of sharing a bag of Funyuns and a couple of Slim Jims. And he says, I don't know what got into me. whatever's going on around here, it's real bad, isn't it?
Yeah, it's there's a lot in this town, man. Not sure if you've noticed before this, but yeah, things are kind of messed up. Um, I want to say that they're getting less messed up, but I don't know. I can't say that for certain. We're trying.
Yeah. Well, and he says, you were asking some questions earlier about the fire and about all that stuff that
Yeah.
happened. I
Yeah,
started
mostly just
getting
wanted to know. Yeah. Go ahead.
we started getting messages from, that thing shortly after we found something when we were doing inventory in the back. And he goes into his pocket and he pulls out what appears to be like a large pronounced canine tooth, but it's perfectly shiny and black. Says, this is probably some cursed shit, but if you want it, it's yours.
Yeah, I'll take it. Honestly, I have a Walkman with a beating heart in it, so on the list of cursed things, this is probably not the worst.
You can add, or it's a clue, this shiny
Mm.
black canine. And
Yeah.
it was found by the Big Sun people.
Hey man, you gonna be okay? You gonna be good?
Yeah, I think maybe we're gonna close up the store for a few days.
That might be a good idea. Um, yeah, just I don't know. Keep it low key. We're really trying to, you know, not have any more attempted murder suicides.
Oh, I'm just getting a note that you already had the canine. Oh, you already
Oh,
had. Oh,
gotcha.
or you had that. Oh, well, no, it's a different clue slightly, because this is
Okay.
like a shiny black
Mhm.
canine tooth.
Gotcha,
Yeah,
gotcha.
yeah. It's kind of connected, maybe, but
Mhm.
he says, "Cool.
Yeah,
Hey,
cool.
before you go,
Yeah.
we've got this energy drink that we have to dispose of according to the FDA. It's called Balls. Do you want some?"
Is that with like a Z?
Yeah. You probably shouldn't drink too much of it because I'm pretty sure it'll make your heart stop. But
Yeah.
balls.
Yeah, sure. I like nope, not gonna say that. Yeah, I'll take it.
Love the tagline. Put some
What's
balls in your mouth. Really good.
Now they had to know what they
Clever.
were doing with that one. They had to know, right? Like they simply had to know.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, I'll take it. I have a friend who I guess likes energy drinks.
Fantastic. You leave Big Sun convenience store, your balls in your hand.
Okay, thank you, Jason. I was waiting. I was waiting.
It's 2004. It's the era of the energy drink. It's
Yeah,
the era of the
it is.
novelty
It
energy
is.
drink. Yeah.
I
Gotta
felt
do it.
that I felt that punchline building. I'm like, this is yeah.
Sean, your clue on the way out is simply just it's basically just you'll kind of get Flo to admit that W. Atlas Morgenstern actually kind of like hired her out from under his competitors, kind of reverse, jujitsu corporate espionage thing. Um, so he has a certain awareness of kind of 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 things. It would seem. You can make whatever you want of it, but that's your clue. Is there anything you want to do to wrap up this phase?
I think he's going to leave her there and take the car home.
Fantastic. Topher, you're going to wrap up our night phase. You did not go through a strange outer boundary of the cosmos.
Well, that's good.
Instead, you make it all the way across. Just give us your little moment here.
Yeah, I think that the car goes flying over this gap, and some little puffs of like flame come out of the exhaust a little bit as like the camera zooms in and freeze frames as Topher's the car Topher is over the gap, and it does like a 360, and then the car immediately falls back down, still going at the same speed, keeping all that momentum as the camera's just following along shakily. And Topher slams their e-brake and drifts around in a circle. And then the door opens and no one gets out. But Topher is now not in the car.
Nice. I love it. So that's going to wrap the night phase. Before we move into the dawn, though, I think we should probably take some time to answer some questions since we have a little bit of extra time here today. And you all have quite a lot of clues on the dream, and Dog told me to now. We'll take like a 15-minute break, but I'm actually going to keep the recording going in case you all want to chat, and because I think sometimes viewers might like to hear those chats that the before Jason gets back chats. So I'll let you all do that if you want, but it's still a break, so if you need to step away, please do. But we're going to keep it running, and I will be back in 15.
Cool. So he's out of the house. I will say this right now, by the way, that for Dog told me to, with our 8 clues, I say we go for the complexity 4 question and really just punch it, because since that one is how can you be untethered from Deep Lake? If we roll high enough, the big man shows up, which makes a lot of sense for getting rid of an entity by having our other friend, a bigger entity, arrive in that too. So I'd say that we just go for the easy resolution of kicking this dog out of the house.
Sure.
I
Works
mean,
for me.
yeah, could be fun. Plus, that means
Yeah,
that he could come back in the Odyssey mystery, which I like.
true. Very true. Makes our life harder down the line. Um, hey Ben, since you've been like mostly focusing on the dream, I'd love to hear like whatever you're thinking about that.
Yeah, me too. I know I had an idea last session and it's just gone.
Mm. Did we want to go for the 6 or the 8?
I think the terrible secret could be fun.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, especially because we've been getting a lot of Morgenstern content these past couple episodes, so it would make
Yep.
sense to hit that home.
Yeah, agreed.
Cool.
So we have his financial statements. That'll help, and
Mhm.
we could put a lot of context in on Flo admitting that she was uh, sniped out from under his
Yeah.
competitors.
Oh yeah, we have all these clues we can use too. So I mean, we should use all of them.
Yeah.
Um.
I'm gonna step out for a few seconds. I can still hear though.
Okay. Let's see. So, other clues I feel like could fit into this. Oh, go ahead, Jesse.
I was gonna say I might have some sort of idea here. Um, so we have like those statements and everything, showing that he's up to something terrible.
Mhm.
We also have like a few clues. We have like people become obsessed with it. Long-term exposure leads to zombification, and it takes over like bodily fluids. I think all of that, and combined with the buzzing, I'm almost thinking this is like some really fucked up way for him to like siphon energy in some sense. And like either he himself is getting like more energy or like life or whatever, or there's like something even worse that he's powering with that in the house. And that's why you heard that buzzing, because like that's where it's all going.
I do enjoy a mad science angle. Um,
Yeah.
the company Rolodex from La Fresca Foods could contain a number of contacts related to that idea, possibly. Maybe that as we continue to contextualize this, there are contacts that could be found in that Rolodex that allow us to understand more of the components here. So that's kind of like on the fringe is something that we can use. when we get more of it. Um, yeah, the buzzing is very cool. I'm wondering, unless anything's coming to you, Ben, right now, like going off of what you were just saying, Jazzy, like I like the idea of it if it doing something related to him. I like maybe um because you know what, like we do have the clue that yeah, like the with the financial statements that like they made their money drilling for oil. Um and is that he made his money drilling for oil, or is that like an ancestor who made royalties drilling for oil? Because is he the third, or is he another one?
I don't know
Okay,
slash
I don't
remember.
recall. Yeah.
What if it's not oil? That's just what they put on their statements, and it's like the blood of the entity that is underneath all of Degoya
Mhm.
County.
Guys, the answer is
I love it.
fracking. His terrible secret is fracking. That's it. That's all it is. No, that's actually sick. I love that.
I love that.
I love harvesting things from big monsters.
So you're
It
saying like that's the dream? That's what people have been
or
eating,
at least
this
Yeah,
blood of the
it's an
entity?
ingredient.
it's an ingredient, a
Mm.
component. Yeah, I like the idea that like maybe like the Morgenstern's family dating back to like, you know, the the 1800s, like oil barons and all that, digging up the fields. They had discovered this massive thing beneath the earth. I'm getting a little inspiration from Mystery Flesh Pit National Park ideas for those who've seen that. Of like just some big organic mass that's in the desert that they've been harvesting from. What if yes, Morgenstern's using that for as an ingredient in the dream, but what if with tying in the like machinery and the electronic buzzing, what if there's some kind of like debilitating wasting disease that the like in like a blood disease that the Morgensterns like have contracted from their time harvesting, like an experience with that, and like he's like sustaining his own life, like trying to like run these experiments. That plays into it, like it's some attempt to keep himself alive because he's basically dying and he's using it. I don't know, there's an idea.
See Ben thinking.
Yeah, it's Ben's thinking faces on.
You can actually smell the
Mhm.
smoke if you're close
Yeah.
enough.
Well,
All the way to here.
while those gears are churning, I can at least like gear shift over to this adjacent part that we can at least easily throw together, which is people becoming violently obsessed with the dream. Long-term exposure leads to zombification. The dream takes over bodily fluids. The dream zombie under the plant. All of those just serve to contextualize it is part of it's the intentional feature, or at least a thing that happens because of whatever he is doing with these materials and this machinery and electronics that is related to it as all feeding into that. So we can easily just stick those on the board as, yep, that's happening. That's the consequences of the actions here.
Okay, so what if the small electronic buzzing is like a mystical white noise machine for the thing sleeping under the land here? It's letting them drill into it and draw its blood, marrow,
Mm-hmm.
whatever the dream is using out
Spinal fluid.
without. Ooh,
It's
that's
because,
better.
and that's why it's the dream, because it's literally a
There we go.
it's connecting to its cerebral
Mhm.
kind of like spinal, like yeah, it's cerebral
And it
spinal
has to
fluid.
be dreaming for them to be able to do this if this
Mm-hmm.
machine is putting it to sleep.
Oh, wait, that's crazy. Continue, Ben. You were saying something.
Yeah, it's keeping it asleep and dreaming, and then they draw out the spinal fluid, and that's what he has listed as oil, because maybe in a refined state it is also valuable as like something more mundane. But he's discovered that by mixing it with other things and turning it into this fluid, it creates something super addictive, which will make lots of sales, with the side effect of uh, zombification, because the magical, maybe it's because the magical white noise machine is failing.
Well,
Ooh.
we all know that we've been dealing with the pure white signal this whole time,
Mm-hmm.
and we've been having a lot of TV themes. And after we did the convergence thing of like, oh, the TV Odyssey logo is the sun in the chromatic desert, and it's blah 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 blah, all that fun stuff. I like the idea that this electronic buzzing is akin to the static of a television, of white noise, of that has something to do with all the greater cosmic things at play here. It's just a little detail, but it contributes. Like, yeah, it's keeping
Mm-hmm.
it's asleep, it's failing. Now, this is all like a really good description of like the true nature of the dream. But I feel like the thing that crosses the threshold into like why we're answering this as like his terrible secret is, I think, that's all fun and good. And I think we go back to the Rolodex for where this might come into what his terrible secret is applications of the dream outside of food products that he has recently been spinning things into. Maybe there's something like, maybe we see some context in there for, I don't know, other pharmaceutical companies or biological weaponry, the
That's what I was
government.
thinking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is less becoming. Maybe we find contacts of someone in a research facility that, oh, maybe this was originally it was just a violent obsession with the dream and to consume it, but he has been taking a lot of money because, as you said, Ben, the machines are failing, and that is like literally the vein he is tapping for his income is from that thing. And if that fails, then it won't work. So he's been taking these large sums of money from these external sources to develop the chemical aspects of the dream into other things. And the consequence of that, the contamination within the dream's production facility, is led to the dream zombies being a thing, because as they're developing more things and pushing it to different limits, it's causing side effects in the people who are consuming the dream, because he has been doing that. So like,
I think that could even be like the flow clue as well. If she like admits why she was originally hired, like maybe it's not just the competitors, but it's like the people who are like, you're getting all this money, like that's illegal
she
competition,
follows the
right?
cash
Like you're
flow.
taking, yeah, like how are you able to get all this investment and all this stuff? And that's where we clue in, like, wait, hold up.
Private investigator hired by
Mhm.
some other party that, oh yeah, she's super like bribable, and so he just basically just started letting her get a cut of all the money just so that he could turn her. That makes a lot of
Mhm.
sense. um and that the dream zombie also makes sense because it's a test subject for the biological weaponry that they've been testing, it like the biohazards. um wow, that's fun.
That's pretty cool. I like it. I also love
Started
that
out
he
as the
found
stuff,
like
ended
this
up.
extremely like magical thing, and his first thought was like, I'm gonna make some
Oh,
money.
absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
Always capitalism.
ate that for all of us.
Capitalism for the shit.
Mm-hmm.
Capitalism.
Yeah, I think literally everything about that checks out. I have no other like points on that.
So the short
Yeah.
form of his terrible secret is that he's actually developing this for biological warfare.
And taking a
Mhm.
ton of money for it. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's like,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so shifting over to Dog told me to. Um, I think we should answer how can Officer Barker be untethered from Deep Lake, because we'll have a bigger bonus for that one. All right, so the clues that we have not used: the flea and tick preventative, the teeth, the
We have quite a
newspaper.
few things with like dark tentacles, black
Mhm.
teeth, like these very occultish
Yeah, which
eldritch
they're very
things.
great clues for answering the what kind of entity is he. But I'm also just
Hmm.
like, but what if we do the other one for a +4 bonus to the roll? um. Oh yeah, well yeah, because that the jarred fetal dog thing counts as 2. Yeah, you're right. So, um, how can it be? So we established that it was like it feeds off of artists, and it was coming here to become real is a whole thing we decided about.
Hmm.
So, okay, I'll just pick a clue as a starting off point, unless someone else has another idea. Um, the Okay, actually, I see two clues I can actually begin picking up with. The newspaper clipping and the spray paint that Cassie is next. The explosion in 1958 on the undeveloped land that would eventually become the site the castle home was built on. Flames unusually vivid red in color. And the spray paint Cassie is next on the castle house. Leads me to believe that something about it is tied to the castles. And maybe Benji Castle is kind of like an anchor point while it's here, because we haven't seen much of him, but we know he's escaped and we know he's prowling around. So maybe that has something to do with it. And the Cassius next could just simply be that, he's hunting down his little sister and is planning to kill her. But I don't know, maybe that's a jumping off point of whatever we need to do to get it out of here involves the castles in some way, because it has this connection to them early on, especially because Benji was the one who kind of gave it original form and that idea that Alan Gibson latched onto. So it would make sense for that to carry over by saying that there's something involving him and maybe his sister that can be used to untether it.
I have not necessarily a different idea. I think you can like maybe merge them, but I'm looking at the a series of original cartoons Ellen drew, one with Officer Barker surrounded by strange geometric symbols and jagged black tentacles. Then we have like that Jared fetal dog thing, and we have the new flea and tick preventative. And just because I think that would be really funny, I think what we need to do is just like make the most occultish, like basically like these signs were like Ellen tried to capture it. Like he tried to make sure that Officer Barker wasn't going out, wasn't doing these things. He tried to like either out of possessive jealousy, like I want it for me and me alone, or I don't want it to hurt anyone. Like that was the intent. But I think the material that he used wasn't correct. And he made it like that. Yeah.
I got something. I want to jump on that. So yeah, I see what you're doing with the geometric symbols. Yes. Okay. So the flea and tick preventative claiming to be all natural whispers it's not all natural. If we take a look at that jarred fetal dog thing, whether that's like formaldehyde or some other chemicals at play, the chemicals in the tick preventative are some of the same chemicals that are in that jar, which like I think that if we use not necessarily just the flea and tick preventative, but if we use whatever chemical compounds are in that thing, because I think that jarred fetal dog thing, where did we find that again?
That was in the Gibson house.
Ashley was given it. Gibson gave it to Ashley and then promptly died.
So what if that was okay? So jumping off of what you said, Jazzy, that is signs of two attempts from the Alan Gibson to banish this thing. Originally, there was maybe this like fetal-like dog thing manifestation that kind of birthed its way into the world. So he, it's like ghosts and salt. He like shoved it in this jar in this like vat full of this chemical, which rendered it dead. But when it ruined that form. But when it came back again later, he tried to trap it with the symbols and the animations, and that didn't work completely to its desire. So if we take these chemicals and we draw out this like occult ritual binding circle thing with those materials and use that as components in the ritual, that is a more complete form of what will do this like unbinding ritual. And why am I blanking on it? The castle home, we do it in the castle home because it's bound to that location.
Cassie to lure it, maybe like if it is connected to the castles, maybe like it's as simple as that.
Maybe
like
it needs Cassie. Maybe what we need is Benji's blood, so we use Cassie to lure Benji out of hiding, kill Benji, spill his blood on the circle because he's kind of like a vessel of a pawn of it, so we use that. And then for the canine teeth,
do we need the teeth to draw the blood? Is that like the only weapon that's gonna draw the blood? Do we need to stab it with its own teeth?
I like that a lot.
Well, let's get me caught up. I'm here. I'm back. It sounds like we're talking about Dog Told Me To. You've got two questions. Which one are you going to focus on?
How can Officer Barker be untethered from Deep Lake?
Okay, complexity 4. Resolve the mystery by performing an unbinding ritual. let me just remind viewers of the clues that we have here. Um, there's a new flea and tick preventative being distributed for testing in Delaware County, claims to be all natural. A single canine tooth, black with decay, found at all sites of violence. A newspaper clipping from the La Fresca Tribune dated July 4th, 58, regarding an explosion on undeveloped land that would eventually become the site of the castle home was built on. The report notes that the flame was an unusually vivid color. Spray paint on the castle house. Cassie is next. There is a series of original cartoons Alan drew, one crudely rendered, Officer Barker surrounded by strange geometric symbols, the jarred fetal dog thing, which counts as 2 clues, and then a shiny solid black canine tooth found by Big Sun employees, which preceded their conversation with Barker, or their communion with Barker, as it were. So, what's the plan?
Oh, well, we can't use the geometric clue because it's in the chromatic desert. Damn.
Yeah. Yeah, we have to watch a tape first to use that one. And that was kind of hinging a lot of things.
Which is the one?
That was a
series
huge
of cartoons.
focal one.
Yeah. It was the like linchpin, and I was waiting for either for someone to like take a breath, but neither of you would breathe. It was insane.
Oh, that's a really important one. Shit.
Yeah.
That clue's that's a pinked out clue. We don't have that one.
Yeah. It's a linchpin, and it was not. Yeah.
Okay, well, while we reframe our thinking, we did answer the dream, so at least we can. Someone can talk about that.
Well, let's talk about the dream. So, which question are we doing on the dream?
The second one.
Terrible secret.
W. Atlas Morgenstern's terrible secret. Resolve the mystery by confronting Morgenstern with the truth and convincing him to take the dream off the market. A lot of clues here. People become violently obsessed with the dream. Long-term exposure leads to zombification. The dream seems to take over bodily fluids. There is this company Rolodex from La Fresca Foods back in the day. Financial statements about drilling for oil. In the Morgenstern house, a small electronic buzzing is heard all over. A huge bloated dream zombie indicates that very long-term exposure has this effect and that this has been going on for a while. And Flo was actually hired by Morgenstern. What's the answer?
So the short form is biological weapons research.
Oh, okay.
The long form is that underneath this land, maybe underneath a lot of this land, is something, some creature, some being that is sleeping, and that is being kept asleep by a mystical device or some such. That's what we interpret as electronic buzzing. It's basically a monster's white noise machine. It is keeping this thing sleeping because when it is dreaming, the spinal fluid can be tapped and used as for some more mundane purposes, but also it can be included in the food, and it can make the consumer become violently obsessed with it, and long term they become zombies, and that's what's being called oil on his receipts.
It's I see. Yeah. Interesting.
So the Rolodex, we would find it has a lot of like researchers and Department of Defense numbers and things, because he has been working on weaponizing this for military use. And that's also where he's getting the money and how he was able to afford to buy out Flo.
Interesting. Huh. And maybe even his connections to the military gave him a heads up about Flo, right? I mean, it's very likely that he would not be taken by surprise by some mere rival confectioner. Really interesting. Did we say again, like where does the dream come from? Is it like in the ground, or like what was the deal with the actual material, or is it just something they created in a lab?
It's the spinal fluid of the massive organic thing.
Oh, got it. Oh,
It's the stuff it makes when it's dreaming.
I like it. This is really good. Yeah, this is a good theory. You've got 8 clues on an 8 complexity. Go ahead and roll.
Taking it.
I think it makes the most sense if Ben does it, right?
That's a 7. 7.
A 7. You're correct. Might be a difficult resolution, but otherwise correct. Okay.
The beast wakes up.
I gather from the chat we have a new angle on Dog Told Me Too
Yeah.
that does not require that one clue.
Okay.
Though that one
Yeah.
clue is certainly interesting context, right?
Very interesting context. Without it, it changes some things, but actually not as much as I was fearing. So we were trying to answer how to untethered from Deep Lake. So back when this thing first manifested, we know from the newspaper article that in 1958 there was an explosion on the undeveloped land that would later become the castle home. There were vividly red flames. That explosion was from a ostensibly from a pocket of like methane gas in the ground. It like exploded, burst outward. It's not 100% true, but it's indicative of the connection between where this thing comes from and elsewhere. We've seen multiple times in this campaign where like incursions of other places sometimes rub up against our world. It's kind of like a thin place. And when this thing manifested because of Alan Gibson's obsession, one of the many initial forms it first took when it was first kind of like budding into this reality was this kind of like malformed dog thing, as it was like a cyst just kind of like emerging into a reality. Alan Gibson, horrified, drowned that thing in a vat of chemicals like formaldehyde or something like that, and that temporarily killed it. That wasn't enough to remove the entity from our reality. When it later came back, it more began to solidify as Officer Barker, as we've seen. Now, the chemicals that he used to drown it is, if you actually look, that new flea and tick preventative that's claiming to be all natural. It's not all natural. Some of those chemicals are actually in that formula. That's kind of a thing we found. So this thing has this entity on some level has some kind of similarity to like the fleas or ticks, in that like these chemicals are naturally harmful to it either way. This connection to the castle home, the spray paint that says Cassie is next, from Benji Castle, because he's hunting down his sister to kill her. We have to basically, from flames this thing came, so to flames it must be returned. On the castle's grounds, we have to douse Benji in these chemicals, light him afire, and then stab these canine teeth back into him, and then and that will that ritual will remove it from our reality.
So this is essentially like reversing the process of how he came to be. Okay, interesting.
Originally, that clue that we didn't get to use was like, oh yeah, we can do like a binding circle with all these cool symbols, and then do it. It's like, no, okay, in this case, we're just gonna dump chemicals on him, light him on fire, and stab him.
Maybe this will work if there are no objections. What does that put your die roll at? 1, 2,
plus 4.
3, 4.
No,
5,
plus 3.
5. Well, how many clues is it? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 clues. I think it's plus 2.
One of them counts. One of them counts for 2.
Oh, it counts twice. Right? That's right. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's listed here twice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, you're right. Okay, yeah, plus 2. So no, plus 3.
Plus 3. Gotcha. I'm happy to roll. Plus 3. 11. Damn, I was hoping we'd get Big Man, but that's okay.
That is all right. So these two mysteries are ready to wrap up. We still have to work on Pale Horse a little bit. Let's go to the dawn phase. Let's take a look at our dawn here. And basically, let's just answer dawn questions at this point. You've not resolved a mystery. Signals from the other side didn't happen because there was no tape. Nathan, going back to last session as well, were you vulnerable with someone?
I trying to remember. It's been so long. I was trying to do a little bit of vulnerability with the store owner
Oh,
a
the
bit.
store owner. Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah.
Did you go out of your way to reconnect with Deep Lake? Again, the store owner. I think
The
it
store owner, yeah,
applies.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Topher, did you cut loose for once? Yeah, you jumped your car self over a big
Cut
gap.
way loose.
Indeed. Did you deliver a chilling monologue about something that happened to you in the past, even in flashback?
I don't. Oh, I guess yeah. So even in flashback, that
Yeah, I
was.
mean, if it was sufficiently chilling, yeah.
I saw a lot of uncomfortable faces.
Yeah,
So
yeah, we'll count it. Um, Ashley, did you share a good memory from your childhood?
Not in this session, and I don't think I did in the other one.
Were you vulnerable with someone?
I had it bolded, so I'm thinking last session, but
Oh
I
yeah, I
don't
think
quite
yeah.
recall.
I remember you when you bolded that last session, so I'm assuming something happened. I don't recall what it was though. You can have it in any case. And finally, Sean, did you go out of your way to reconnect with Deep Lake?
I don't think so, no.
Did you deliver a chilling monologue about something that happened to you in the past? Not that it matters. You're all fully advanced anyway. So
No, I didn't.
yeah. Okay, fantastic. Let's keep going here. I don't think we have any moves that go in the Dawn phase. I don't even, do we have any key prompts that are unresolved either? I don't think we do. Okay, well, let's just slide right into Stars and Wishes then. And I've got one little thing after Stars and Wishes. Yeah, this is a quick, short session, but it was really action-packed and fun. I had a really good time. It was fun to. I love ending on so many cliffhangers, and in one case, a literal cliffhanger, and then wrapping them up. Leaving the characters in suspended animation for a few weeks for the holidays, and then coming back. But I think we got some really good scenes out of it, and they were very character appropriate scenes too. Like it was really interesting how they each really fit those characters' vibes. I think, and I thought that was really enjoyable. And yeah, and everyone did a great job. My wish is just I'm just really excited to start pushing this toward the finale, towards a conclusion. We're gonna have this last like kind of action-packed mystery in Pale Horse, and then get fully into the weirdness of TV Odyssey, which we've definitely earned at this point. So I'm just excited to get there and to do the last Odyssey tape. So
Uh, yeah, I mean, sort of the same. I really loved how it's just like over the whole game, I love how everyone has like developed their own like side stories almost and like have these different vibes. And I think like this session really just like highlighted all these different things that we have going on. The 1-2 punch of like Ashley unhinged cackling in the night air while she's racing in a Jeep to Nathan in a store being like, so I know you're trying to murder me, but let me just hold on. Like incredible. That was really great. Um I mean, I don't want to star it, but I feel like I have to. Like the solemn tone in which Jason, you delivered that you walk out of the store holding your balls. Just like it was like the incredible, like the delivery. It was so stupid, but so good
I feel
and
like
incredible.
I never miss an opportunity to like humiliate Nathan. I think this is the fun of Nathan to me, and so it's good time.
Precisely. Yeah, I thought that was very, very fun. For Ben, I loved your contribution to the mystery with like, oh, what if it's like a sleeping god and we're like that's what the dream is made of. I thought that was really, really cool. I also have just really enjoyed watching like action movie Sean Thompson, like action hero Sean Thompson. I hope we get more of him. I love him. Um, for Steph, I really love that scene of you getting absorbed and then like I kind of I kind of like the subversion of usually when something like that would happen in a movie, we get like a very beautiful, serene scene, like why Topher would want to stay alive or something. And instead we got like this absolute shitty existence but that still shows like Topher isn't going anywhere. Screw all of you. And that felt like fairy Topher in that moment. Like not a beautiful, clean happiness, but just like this gritty, like, come at me, bro, just come at me, which was really, really fun. Wishes, yeah, I'm very excited to see where we're going, and to get more into Pale Horse, like the more downtime side of it, maybe. I'm also interested to see like how we're going to interact with this during the day when we're not cackling in the night air, and see where all of this goes.
I'll go. Yeah, this was a lot of fun. It was punchy, and I really enjoyed the theorizing with all of you. It's always fun to get a little weird with things, and I really enjoyed the answers that we came up with. Big star for we finally got to really get a glimpse of the pure white signal in that synthwave nightmare landscape, which was amazing, and also the way that everyone interacted with each of their threats and foes today was great and so on point. Nathan being a little overwhelmed by the fact that this guy just wanted to kill him, and needing a minute to process that, and then actually being kind of concerned about him was just perfect. And I thought it was great. Also star for bringing me right back to my first year of university and balls. Thanks for that. Topher and the flashback was just, that was a good gut punch moment, and I love the little touches there. Ashley, I want just Knight Rider Ashley for the rest of the campaign, actually. Like, that's just, there's a wish. Just Speed Racer Ashley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will go.
Yeah, go. Do it.
Everyone's already said some of my stars are, but I'll just reaffirm. Yeah, star to balls. Star to just everyone's description of their individual scene sign. I know we were going into this kind of expecting like a shorter session, but to echo what Ben just said, yeah, it felt very punchy. It felt very 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 in it. It was also just because I'm very glad that we're playing again. I've missed this group so much. I really liked that's why they call me Flo, because I follow the cash flow. I'm all about whatever she said. That was dumb and funny. I love it. Yeah, like the theories. Ashley racing, very cool, very unhinged, good for her. Nathan's like, hey, that's my girlfriend, and she terrifies me, and I love that for her. And yeah, wishes. Also ready to watch our final Odyssey tape to see things kick off. And I took my last advance. I took I am error as my last move. I just bought the insurance that Ashley will not forget me if I ever have to go back. So, yeah, because that fucked her up so much last time. Nathan wants to make sure that does not happen to her again.
I love it. It's great.
Yeah. So I had so much fun. Again, it was a shorter session, but I really enjoyed how like much content was shoved into it. It was really incredible. I loved the race scenes. All of the like action movie shots that you were narrating were awesome. Like, if this was like a Fast and Furious movie, I could see Vin Diesel in a wig as Ashley. uh, and that was incredible for me. I loved that Nathan just ended up concerning a person who was going to murder him so bad that he snapped out of wanting to murder him. That is such a Nathan thing. Like, the guy who was about to burn you both alive said, hey, buddy, what the fuck is up with you? And I love that for him. I also really love how just on top of everything Sean has been ever since he came back from the Chromatic Desert. Like, that really harrowed this man, and he has just gone insane with it. And I love that for him. As far as like, which is, oh, also before I forget, star for the synthwave sort of area that Topher ended up going. I was able to picture it literally exactly perfectly in my head. I have like a synthwave background on my monitor right now, and I was just like, oh, hey, I see that. It was incredible. As far as wishes go, I have one key of the child left, and I have been saving it for the last one, and I'm so excited to finally get it done. And then I only have the pure right signal, so we're gonna be riding fucking risky.
Fantastic. Are there any other stars? Any other stars and wishes? Very well, then we're going to close. Still nighttime. At least it's in the nighttime. We see someone approaching that secret entrance into La Fresca Foods. The door is still flung open haphazardly from Sean's escape. This person has long dark hair, a scraggly beard. They're wearing a New Mexico State Police uniform, though it doesn't fit well. It's loose and baggy and blood-stained. They have something on top of their head, but we can't make out what it is. In the darkness, they walk into the little subterranean portion of La Fresca Foods. They make their way to that door where the horrible, bloated dream zombie is. They then reach up, and we see now that what's on top of their head is a mask, a crudely rendered papier-mâché mask of Officer Barker. They pull it down, and they say, "Good boy, Benji. You know what you have to do." And with that, I will see you all next week. Bye, everyone.